All right, first question. Is Chris's twin taking a different life path due to Chris's lifestyle and life choices? I guess it also just means like, has he lost his twin due to his consistent behavior and lifestyle? Y'all already know what I'm going to say to my day oneers. They're a split soul. No, no. Okay, now on the 3D, I know what y'all mean though. But the thing is this, I'm not really here to teach that or bring awareness to that. There's plenty of content out here that could give women advice about not coddling the black man, especially black women. And that's okay. You know, we're a resourceful place. And that's what that's about too. But one thing that I can say as far as the 3D goes with her, because, well, let me start here. Let me give you guys examples of, how women feel about how he lives his lifestyle and all of that, and what that looks like with him being in a relationship with someone. Like I said, as y'all know, it's different for twins, but I'm not gonna just say that to zoom past what it is y'all are really trying to figure out or understand or know. Okay, I get it. I get what y'all are trying to say, because there are some people who do use that as an excuse to stay in dark situations themselves, or because they want to believe that they is his twin and they don't want to accept all sort of things that could be happening, that for them, yeah, it could be showing certain girls. If you get bent out of shape about what he does and you feel like he's choosing girls over you, if you feel you are the twin and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot more heed that you should be taking from that information that you're retrieving from seeing his lifestyle and life choices. And I'm gonna say 90% or 95% of those who feel that way, that need to take heed to that and feel like they want to take a different path, or that they're so fed up and tired of his bull crap and that he's choosing other girls over them, all you're really saying is, I need to love me more, right? So now this is just me starting somewhere to get into where y'all want me to go. And that's true, and that's what we know here in society and relationships. Those are definitely signs that that's not the guy for you. On a general level, that's not the guy for you. Choose better. But in order to choose better, you got to become what it is that you want. Y'all know all these sorts of this information is endless online, where you could look at it. And I would suggest that all of you do that first, right? Do that first. But I feel like a lot of you see this stuff just like in regular toxic relationships, and just like the women that's already around him, you still stay, and you still will stay if you were with him. So that's a problem right there. That's not even like an ultimate soul partner type of connection. But is it still things you can learn from it? Yeah. So if you feel like you're his twin and you've been impacted by these things, yes, sure, she's human. She's gonna hurt from these things that she sees. But wise ones learn from what they see. And the way you'll be able to tell if you're really like in that 5 percentile of even just generally even being a twin is how you handle the things that you see him doing. Right? And then that's where we should take this, and then maybe break that down and what that should look like. But I feel like if I do that, a lot of you have to be careful with that information, because then there are 3 categories with that. There are people here that just really love twin flame connections, and they just love looking at people that could possibly be it, and they learn from those twins. Then there are the ones in the middle. One minute they're not sure if they're a twin. Then they're not sure if they're his twin. Then they're pissed because of what he's doing. And it's like he's just, he's such a fuck up. He's this, he's that. But what about you? What about you? What are you doing every day? What are you engaging in every day? You become what you do every day, what you practice every day. What are you doing? What type of excuses are you making by pointing the finger at him? Right? But now let me take it down a level, and we're still in that second category. Now because now, even with myself, I might sound like I'm coming off as if I'm giving Chris grace, that I'm finna coddle Chris and all that kind of stuff. This goes in the same category as well with these same types of women that watch too. This is the largest percent. This is the 95%, I'd say. No, I give this one about maybe 70%. But it's the, if there was a pie chart in 3 sections, this would be the biggest percentage of the women, because this large percentage of the women are the women that came across him or felt awakened by him because it's just for you to learn. And like I said, and once you choose to learn and take action in what it is that you are learning about, how he impacts you or how he makes you feel, okay, that's step 1. But then what are you going to do with that information? Are you going to reinsert it back into this same community? Or are you going to take heed and figure out how to 9 of Pentacle it? Are you going to, or then this takes me to the third ones. This is a third category. These set of women. So what we have here, we have 5%ers and 70%. So then that was that 75% of the first 2 categories, right? So then what do we have? Like, y'all know I'm bad at math. Is it 25? Yeah. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. I was about to say 30. Is it really? Yeah, 25. So, oh wow, I like the way Spirit did these numbers. So then there's like, and y'all, I hate math and graphs and shit. But so yeah, 70. No. Yeah, 75%. And then the 25 makes a whole dollar, 100. Okay, yeah. So then you have this 25% of women who knows for sure and feels that they're his twin. Oh my God, I am his twin. Everything syncs up. What he posts, he's talking to me, he's singing to me when he's on stage, he's doing this, he's doing that. These are the ones on this end where they are polarized to the 5%, right? That who are truly just twins in general. But then you have someone in that 5% that really is his twin. So let me paint this picture again for y'all. 5%, because I'm going back over it too, because Spirit just did this shit in real time for me. And I didn't even know how this was going to go. 5% are really twins, right? Let's just think about the audience. Just watch me, right? 5%, let's just use me as an example. I know there are other people that may not have ever even found me. Just say for now, I'm the one everybody goes to for the Chris readings. I know it's not true, but just follow me for a minute, just so I can give this to y'all. 5% are really twins in general, period. And then in that group, there are some who watch to, learn about twins. They're fascinated with it. They may play a very critical role in uniting other twins. They themselves are more than likely, highly likely divine feminines, all that. 5%. 75%, the ones in the middle, they have these awakenings. They're so confused. They don't know if they are his twin or not. They just know certain things connect with them lyrically, whatever else, this color, this gang sign he threw up. They wasn't sure if it was him throwing up gang signs or if it was that he was sending out smoke signals to his twin and all that kind of stuff. There are certain things that really do resonate, and it speaks to their souls. And it's supposed to, right? But this large percentage of 75%, right? Like I said, it's good to get that information, and it's good to feel what you feel. Your feelings are extremely valid. They are valid. Like I'm saying, the color violet. And so then it becomes, what are you going to do? Are you going to be wise about this information? Or are you going to keep reinserting the same information over and over again. What I mean by the same information is the recycled information. Is like, because you're going in circles in your head over and over again about the same old things that you're watching him do. See, now I'm going to take you back over to the 5%ers. They're alchemists. They're magicians. They aren't really, I don't feel them tangled in any of what the 75%ers are doing at all. They're teachers. They're doing it. It's just, or either they're preparing to do so. And being within the 75%ers to do that, you can't. You just can't drink from both wells in that sense. Now, again, it's dangerous for me to say this because a lot of those 75%ers are going to start looking for the 5%ers, right? They're going to look for them to get information, to do what the dark magic people do. And what I tell y'all how dark magic works, it has to stay in touch with the light in order to create more opposition and create more spells and potions to mimic the light. Light is the dark is the light. So they have to always invert things and exchange and siphon, and they are the most powerful ones. Y'all want to know whoever these 75%ers are? Let me tell y'all, they're very good with energy transference, whether they know that they're doing it or not. That's their gift. 5%ers are alchemists. Now, I'm gonna get to the 30%, but 25%. Just hold on for a minute. Just rock with me, because I'm already giving you answers to the 25% just by talking to the 75%ers. I'm telling y'all more about the 5%ers, and then we'll get to the 25%ers. But y'all see, I'm mostly talking to y'all. Why? It's not because it's a bunch of y'all that's doing the same thing. It's just that, well, I lie. It's because a bunch of y'all are just doing the same thing. What makes the 25%ers different is that they don't do what y'all do, although it's completely opposite of what the 5%ers do. But they're extremists, right? They're tapped out. And then the 5%ers are also extremists. So they can tap out. They're on the far right side of the pole, and the 25% are on the far left side of the pole. And then there's you guys. Not all of you, but whoever y'all know, and whoever feels whatever, right? Because I'm not trying to talk to y'all like I feel like, oh, y'all just 75%ers. What I'm just telling y'all is that you gotta know who you are. And the only way you could do that is to really figure out, am I a 75%er now? Because if you're a true 5%er, what I tell y'all 5%ers do, they can alchemize that shit. They can get out of being a 75%er. But you can't be all up in the 75%ers all the time, doing what 75%ers do. But if that's the case and that's who you are, it's okay. You got gifts too. Chris isn't the only man on earth. And I've heard a lot of y'all come to me on that. He's not the only man on earth, and and I'm just like, but what about you? What about you? Are you the only girl on earth? Or do you need someone like Chris to validate that for you? These are basic lessons to take heed to. And these are reasons why there are basic things happening that you guys are looking at and talking about and re-talking about and recycling and re-talking about, because it's either who you really are, and then you could figure out your roadmap to what it is that you need to do because you're a 75%er, and there's nothing wrong with being that, because like I said, they have gifts too. But if you are unconscious of what those gifts are as a 75%er, then you're gonna abuse it yourself and other people. Okay? So first, let's start there. Okay? Let's figure out who we are first, and not who we think we are. Right? And like I said, the key to that is this. You become what you practice every day. That's going to give you a hint and some clues If you're a 5%er, 75%er, or 25%er. Now, let's talk about the 25%ers. The extremists on the far left side of the pole who are tapped out. A lot of these people don't really have mental balance. That's how they're able to get around people like Chris, hitchhike through truck drivers across land. Nothing really happens to them in a sense. A lot of them tap out through psychedelics or other substances to do this as well, but they're extreme with it. So the Amikas of the world, there are 25%ers who may weave in and out of the 75%ers. But let me tell you what the 25%ers did. They don't really know about the 5%ers because they think they're the 5%ers. Okay, that's that part. And then they think they're better than the 75%ers because it's too many of them over in that section that because the 25%ers, most of them are narcissists and stuff like that. And I know that term gets used so loosely now. And the word literally is just, that word always gets misused now, that it's become slang. Okay, and that's fine. I love Earth in that sense that we're just so creative and expansive, right? So the 25%ers, and this should help y'all understand, I hope, at least, I'd say at least maybe 15% of the 75%ers that will eventually awaken to being okay with being 75%ers and using their gifts for good and ending up with the man of their dreams, and all that good stuff. Okay, so these 25%ers end up mixed in. This is just like my reading if you have not watched it. And like I told y'all in that reading, those girls in that parking lot still were chosen by divine masculines. Why? Because they're mixed in with the 5%. They were mixing in with the 5%ers, but they can't see the 5%ers. They just think it's them versus the 75%ers. They think they are. They think that they're more than 25% anyway. So that's that. So what they do is, again, what I told y'all, they are of the powers that be, that don't want the 5%ers to know that they are even more rare than the 25%ers. The 25%ers are the ones at the top of the pyramid, or are the ones like, maybe like even in Karuchi's case, those sorts of girls, the ones that still end up somehow ending up around these men with money and stuff like that. It's because they became extremists in it in some kind of way. They biohacked themselves, but in an earthly way. Whereas the 5%ers are air. They are alchemists. They could change, they could shape shift. They could shift energy around to get there. But the thing is, because the earth has been robbed of this knowledge is there, they came here on earth to figure out how to tap back into it naturally and not use cheat codes like the 25%ers do, because they understand that the cheat codes that the 25%ers use is gonna still put them back in the dark and make them end up with the 75%ers. But not the 75%ers of like a portion of the 75%ers that will awaken and do what they got to do as 75%ers. And so there's not much I can say about the 25%ers. Y'all see them every day. Y'all get mad at them. Y'all get frustrated with them. Y'all, and the thing is, a lot of them are psychopaths who suffer from psychopathy. So when y'all say, oh, they don't give a fuck, they don't care about they don't have a purpose, all of that is very true. But who are you trying to convince? Because they can't hear you, and they can argue with you all day, every day. They get a thrill out of it because just they understand that you are energy transferers. Like you transfer energy. And if you don't know that about yourself as being powerful and gifted to do that, they're going to take it just like they take from everybody else that they get around. They're just 75 percenters that just so happen to be extremists to the point where they just end up landing themselves to take away from people on high, in higher spaces when it comes to money and access to quote unquote so-called resources. But all those resources are mimicked from the source and light of of the eternal light. So even with him being on the side of the pole with the 25 percenters, because we can throw Chris over there, not as one, but one who attracts them. Well, that's just that part. But then, like I said, so you have to go to his twin now. It's safe to say she's a 5 percenter, 3 to 5 percenter, 1%. She's in there. She's one of those, right? So let's just keep that in mind now. We're having this sort of knowledge, right? Twin, 5%. A lot of your friends, 75 percenters. A lot of the motherfuckers you hate, 25 percenters. Right? Now, let me see if I can speak to the 5 percenters that could be in the building. Let me see. Where are you? 5 percenters? Where you at? Let me see. I'm not feeling any of them. So they're either cloakers. And in addition to that, I've never spoken to them a day in my life in the 3D. And not because they have fear, but because they're very wise and they understand the power of centering oneself. And the way they go about certain things is on a collective scale. It's not selfish. Okay? That's that. But I get a very strong feeling like I have 5 percenters that watch my channel. But I can't say with confidence that there are some who watches Chris's readings. Now, let me take you back to where I said darkness is the light. Darkness learns the power. They have to place value on something in order to make things seem factual. Numbers can be manipulated to where we can see them. Now, like I said, I'm not here to bring awareness to what's already seen, what can already be pointed out and argued about. I'm here to unravel the unseen. Okay, so it won't be a lot. It won't be a lot of it being said or even understood. A lot of it will be watered down and equated out to, I'm just giving Chris grace and I'm just coddling black men as a black woman. And that's fine. That I expected that. Now this goes into the energy of the big argument about whether his twin is black and all of that, and these numbers. So because these are going to go hand in hand. So to us, high numbers mean good, right? We've been taught that and programmed that all our lives. High numbers mean good, right? Darkness is the light. Keep that in mind. But high numbers mean good. Oh, you on and popping. You got that many views. You got that many followers. You on and popping. You know who that works for? Come on, y'all know, y'all smart. The 25 percenters do stuff like that. If high numbers, stay with me. If high numbers matter, if high numbers is what makes you so poppin', right? Why is it that the 75 percenters stand out the most, but get the least attention? You know why? Because anybody would tell you in any situation, anybody in the middle of the pyramid suffers the most. The people that suffers the most with taxes is who, y'all? The middle class. Right? Because the ones at the bottom who are getting government assistance or whatever it is, or even they just flat out homeless and poor and all that, they don't have a certain awareness so they could get through life because what they don't know, they can't fear. They can't create a fear in their lives, so they can even eat things that maybe a person vibrating at a higher frequency can't, because they are at a lower frequency in that they don't know. So when people go out, yes, you're supposed to make the world a better place, but you're also supposed to have knowledge to understand too that there are certain things they just not going to be able to fathom because of the, where they are on the pyramid and what they were designed to do this lifetime. And a huge part of being a 5%er is that we have to accept those sorts of things, and in blabbering about it or trying to get people to see it, we understand that we are polarized. We also understand that Earth is all inclusive. And so if you push against something, it's going to push back. Guys, all this stuff was taught in mystery school for a reason too. So now back to my numbers. Because I know y'all get it now. I know y'all understand where I'm going with this. So if numbers is everything, and if you hot shit because you got all these numbers, why is it so important that you're the shit only if you're a 5%er then? Why? Because that's really the secret. No one's pushing the importance of being a 5%er. Because if everybody tried to be a 5%er, then, well, they'll end up in the 25%. You know why? Because the 5%ers they're protected by God. You can't even, that's the thing, that the 25%ers want to control the 75% because they know they can't fuck with the 5%ers. They can only observe things and then see how to move to manipulate the 75% to then in hopes that the 75%ers use their gifts of energy transference to then taint or put fear in the 5%ers' hearts. Okay, this is damn near like a collective reading. All right, so a lot to sleep on, and I didn't even scratch the surface with that. So then equally so, to go on hand in hand, like I was saying, with even with numbers in black. Like the black women, this whole thing with him not liking black women and you have to pass the brown paper test. Like I said, there's so many videos out on that. And there's so much awareness with that is very valid for the 75%ers. But for a 5%er, which I know for a fact she is, as Chris's twin, that stuff isn't even, you can't even, it's not a fact of ignoring it, but alchemizing it when she sees it. And I feel like she do, right? And when she alchemizes it, she gets guidance on how to work with it or work through it or let it work for her. She's not mingling with the 75%ers, constantly feeding the same things over and over again. Oh, he's just stuck. He don't, they're problem solvers. They're resolution oriented. They're about unity. Sure, they're supposed to be about love, peace, and harmony, but they also understand that that's just a fairy tale too. And because they understand that, again, they're not mingling with the 75%ers. Because they understand how dangerous that can be and how they'll be just abusing themselves at that point. What's interesting is that, like I said, the numbers are showing in itself on my channel. Those are 75%ers looking at that stuff. Okay? Because darkness is the light. The most popping, I don't know, maybe there is a study out there, but I'm sure of it. People that pop they shit most of the time, that seem daring and all that, it's a false sense of confidence, but they're just extremists. When you learn the power of being an extremist, whether good or bad, you're good. Like you can tap in and tap out to reach higher levels. But when you're in the middle, you're always playing it safe. You have so much fear in your heart one way or the other. This is what that is, And so now with the whole black thing, now if we look at his history while being in the entertainment industry, sure, everyone, oh, he likes a lot of he likes a lot of Asians and white girls or Hispanic girls and this and that. It's not black women at all. He hates black women. You have to pass the brown paper bag test in order for him to fuck with you and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's my thing with that. Because like I said, 5%ers are always that undertone, the unseen, right? Now, I feel like in the beginning, and I've talked about this before, there were issues. Hell, the 14-year-old girl that took his virginity, this is what Chris said. He was 8, she was 14, I think. If she was black, you know, I could see where it's rooted. Now, all right, then he he ventures off, he gets in the industry pushes the brown paper bag test too. So, okay, that's that. He's still growing. So that's that. These are not excuses. Just follow me. All right. And so that's happening. And yeah, we see it. Even some of you pointed out, even in the paintings, what they look like. They're like Hispanic girls. Some people feel like he even wishes he was Spanish, and he even hates the blackness that's in him. They said the same thing about Michael Jackson too. All right. Okay. And that's cool. And these are all points to explore. And there's a lot of topics on it. And there's a lot that 75%ers can learn from that. And I hope that they do. Please do take heed. Don't just keep just feeding it and pouting about it and waiting for him to come in and say, yep, you're right. I hate black women. Because the truth is, and that's my dog snoring. And that was me answering it, right? Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going behind it a little bit. Now, only he can confirm whether this 14-year-old was black. But something tells me she was. I could be wrong, but I feel like she was. All because of, like, on a psychological level where I'm going with this too. So we could just explore the possibility and not take it as fact. Here's my theory, okay? That happened. And then all this other life stuff happened. Cool. And then when we talk about what's embedded in black men, period. Then when we talk about how black women get beat down for taking up for the black man, coddling the black man, how the black woman gets, beat down for coddling their sons and all that stuff is okay to explore, talk about. They are much needed discussions to have. And they're going to stay right there, though, with the 75%ers. And that's what needs to be understood about that. Because what the 5%ers are over here doing is learning something a lot more deeper and wiser about it. And they're alchemizing it to really evolve themselves in that sense, to get a better understanding of what happened, when it happened. Because, again, remember I said they're very resolution-oriented, right? I feel like 75%ers want answers, need answers, crave answers, will go through anything to get answers, put themselves in fucked up situations to get answers, just to say, hey, I got a receipt. Hey, I got fact. Hey, I'm right. Right? Okay, that's fine. That's the dark side of 75%ers. Because like I said, not all 75%ers are bad. But I believe it is only about 15% of those 75%ers that's going to take heed to being 75% and getting their lessons. All right. And then there's the 5%ers, like I said, because they're resolution oriented, they don't care about receipts because they know time will tell those sorts of things. To who? The 75%ers, because the 75%ers only exist in time and space. The 5%ers understand that there isn't any. So they just do what they don't really do. They just are. And when they feel like they're doing, they recenter themselves and become present. Pretty much not feeling like they need answers or feeling like they have to choose. Why? Because when they center themselves, wisdom is just given to them. And then because of that, they could just sit in it because they're being the ones, not really coddled, but they're being assured by who they need to be assured by, and that's the eternal light. Okay? So, now, If 5%ers are the most hidden, mystical, powerful beings, and 25%ers are the most obvious, hey, look at me, I'm popular, I have over 50 million followers, then wouldn't you say that the girls that he mess with are 25%ers? And if they are 25%ers, which some things do lead me to believe that, because a lot of them seem to be extremists. They have babies with them. So they have accomplished things that 75, a lot of people won't accomplish. Everybody can't. I mean, it's possible. I mean, not everybody on earth, every single woman on earth can't get pregnant by Chris. Every single woman on earth can't ever even get around him. So follow me. The girls that y'all say that need to pass the brown paper bag test are where? I don't see a lot of black women. But yet these 25%ers have high numbers. They are racially ambiguous, as people would say, especially when we're talking about black men and what they choose and all that stuff. Okay? So all that checks out, right? I'm here with y'all. We're unraveling together. This is just what's coming out. This is what I'm pulling. Now, some of y'all already done caught on that 15% of the 75%ers that's really going to take heed to this shit and really try to do better with their lives. They're going to catch on to where I'm going with this. Let me repeat myself. Okay? If the 25%ers that I already explained to y'all are extremists and they still can somehow seemingly do the impossible that a lot of the 75%ers can't do, which is party with Chris, turn up with Chris, seem like they're being chosen over his twin, seem like, all of that, had those high numbers. They own yachts with billionaires and all that. They getting into these spaces because they're 25%ers. They don't have morals and stuff. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're just off balance. They just so happen to be so off balance that it lands them in those spaces. But they still have to match the dark people that's in those spaces that are 25%ers as well. Because don't get it twisted. There are 5%ers that are in the, the 5%ers are just what they are. They don't really, there's no polarization within that. No more than when they get off balance and they balance themselves. But sorry, I probably confused y'all with that part. Just don't worry about that part. That's a whole deeper lesson. But with the 25%ers over here, and we done seen all of them. Now, like I done told y'all about the numbers and stuff and who that applies to the most, that seem popular and got all the money, the 25%ers. Let me tell y'all what the 25%ers know, like I told y'all before, they can't fuck with the 5%ers. But what they do try to do with the 5%ers that they don't tell the 75%ers is this. Like I told y'all, they use y'all to control y'all to try to put fear in the 5%ers. But the 5%ers are alchemists, so the 5%ers can always alchemize those things. And the 5%ers are the ones getting lessons too, at y'all expense. So y'all are taking hits from the 25%ers and 5%ers. If you're dark in that way. You know what I'm saying? If you're a 75%er that don't want to be woke to who you really are. Okay? Now, if 25% in this rarity over here pass the brown paper bag test, wouldn't you think or really highly be suspicious of his twin being black as a 5%er? And like I told you, I'm sure she's a 5%er. So I'll let y'all sit with that. And the whole point I was making about it being rooted in him with the 14-year-old, if she was black, doing that is because all throughout Chris's life, you could tell what they're cursed by and they have to heal. What do we always hear people constantly fussing about with Chris? He hates black women. Oh, it's black women. He wouldn't piss on fire to put a black woman out. All the more reason for me to believe, because darkness is the light, that his twin is black. Because in order for him to heal and overcome all this madness that's been going on with him surrounding black people, is to marry into a black woman, to merge with a black woman, to learn from and with a black woman, to evolve with that energy, because that's the only way he can make peace with that overall on an evolutionary level. as an ultimate soul partner, as a part of yourself that you hate, no differently than those of you who are 75 percenters feel like you're his twin and you hate his darkness and the shit he do. I'm gonna go as far as to say that he probably has went through phases of hating the black side of himself, but you know what he can't do? He can't run from it, which even more makes me believe his twin is black. Because the more he runs from that and what people think about that, it reflects his hatred to probably the 14-year-old who had no business putting her twat on his 8-year-old penis. You know, that it's rooted in his root chakra. The man hadn't even developed psychologically to even process that type of shit that happened to him. It may have been cool because he wanted to be cool in front of the boys then, but I could promise you a lot of that has to do with his nightmares. So who does he associate that stuff with? If it was a black woman that did it, black women. Even if he tried to hide it, why is it going to show? Because it's rooted in his energetic field. And even if he tried to work with it and work through it, and if he doesn't understand what's happening to process it enough to then face it and own it because it's a split part of who he is, that's the resistance you get. Now, ain't no 75 percenters got time to really sit and think about this type of shit. You know why? Because they'll fucking tell you that shit to your face. That's not fact. Look at this video. Look at these statistics. Look at this and that. No, it is what's being put in front of us that he is. Because he's always around these 25 percenters that like, you know, he hates black women and all this and that. That's what it is. When, like I told y'all, 5 percenters aren't here to teach the things that are seen. We're here to unravel the things that need to be seen or hasn't been seen yet. Okay. So to answer the question, if his twin is taking an alternative path due to his life choices and all that kind of stuff, y'all already know I'm going to say she doesn't have a choice. Some argued she should be getting her back blown out too. She'd probably say to you that she didn't come here on earth for this lifetime. Maybe she fucked enough in other lifetimes to understand the power of merging energies like that, right? And then I know some of you would say, well, if she likes him enough or if there's love there enough, you know, she should be able to be happy too. Who's to say that getting her back blown out by somebody that she half-ass like or just have a seasonal crush on is what she wants to do with her energy, when she knows that there's so much more that she can do with her energy on a 9 of Pentacles type shit on her own. She probably get off in her head on her own. She could give herself orgasms because, again, they are alchemists. That's why you'll see a lot of like the monks and stuff that go off in the mountains and they're just here to be alchemists or to teach, because that they've done enough of this in other lifetimes where they are comfortable in themselves to do that. And that's what makes them happy. That it is equivocal to sex to the 75 percenters that need their nerves penetrated or plucked or stimulated in order to get that surge through them, that a 5 percenter's mind can ignite on its own or just by deliberate intent with the power of the mind. So when she hurts with the things that she sees on this earthly plane, like I said, as a 5 percenter, she knows how to take that energy and turn it into, okay, what is the wisdom I need to get from this God? Lay me down, center me. What's next? You. I'm only listening to you. I don't care what Chris posts in response to all this other stuff going on, because that 5%er understands none of this stuff is going to get anybody anywhere but it land them in the middle where they are, taking hits from the 25%ers and keep them going in circles and to benefit the 25%ers. You have to understand that who you're really up against. And then when understanding you're up against them, you got to even accept that you can't push back. But that's what they want you to believe. So that's pretty much that. Like her worries are big. You know, I feel like she hurts. She do. She's supposed to. That's why she wrote wrote it this way to go through what she goes through. She got to be relatable. You got to, in order to exist here. I'm sure she's a hybrid. Okay? But it's like I'm telling y'all too. As excuse me, 75%ers. Y'all the ones with all the fucking power, because collectively, as a collective, it's more of y'all than it is of us. Or the 5%ers and the 25%ers. But again, 25%ers know to keep y'all divided. So that y'all can't come together on that shit and shift shit. 5%ers could only hope that you guys awaken through what they want you to see, but they don't teach the way the 25%ers teach, because don't get it twisted over there. You got false prophets and everything that are 75%ers. They have millions too, though. That's the way you could tell who a 25%er is. They're right in your face with all the money and the numbers. 5%ers, you don't see them. They're underground. They're in the water. They're in the skies. And when they are on earth, they have the vehicles of the same bodies that you do, but they're what we would like to call earth angels. But they are not here for all of this, like this stuff that's going on in the middle. And for her, she chose to see the things going on in the middle, to rise above it, to see the overall picture, the whole diaphragm. From the diaphragm, solar plexus. So she's here to do a lot of solar plex work this lifetime. So it's about her confidence, facing fears, overcoming obstacles, using fire. And she's probably not fiery, because again, 5%ers, what they have to be careful about, the earthbound 5%ers have to be careful about isolating, withdrawing. They have to, but they have to learn their power in that, and then have great discernment of when to pop out and shift things. And they have to understand that their gifts they were given the gift to do that because they are trustworthy and they earned it. But a lot of 5%ers still try to do things the way the 75%ers do, just to be fair, and because they don't want to feel like they're cheating life. So oftentimes their spirit guide got to tell them, hey, you can shift that, right? What are you crying for? What is that? Lay your ass down and go to sleep so we can talk to you, please. Just calm down. A lot of 5%ers wake up with shit on their hearts. They get dreams. And that's why a lot of 75%ers, they want to learn like this 20. This is what the 75%ers do. They're on the dangerous side of this, which are so what they do is they want to learn what the 5%ers do so they can still become a 25%er. Where the fuck do they do that at? That's where a lot of them are in danger at. That's why I feel like it's like 15% of the 75%ers that watch the Chris stuff really will evolve when they really understand what's happening. Just from the shit I'm saying. They won't, you might get triggered. Hey, that's supposed to happen. But again, it's like I said, it's what you do with the information once you get it. Can you accept it? Can you understand what it is trying to teach you? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to be wiser? Or are you going to middle finger me too and then tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, but then still end up can't stop watching my shit because you don't have self-discipline. That's one of the number one keys. It makes a 5%er different from a 25%er and a 75%er. This 5%er has self-discipline because the 5%er understands that the mind teaches the body control in order to alchemize things. If your mind is going along with what your body tell it to do, you'll be stuck. And you're 75%ers because you respond to cravings and things of that nature. You got to train your mind to break free from what it's limiting you. See? You see what I'm saying? And so, that's that. So it's and then a lot of y'all might have a fit. This bitch ain't even answered the motherfucking question. We asked her, is she going to take a different path? If you don't understand that this is the answer to what you asked, you in general, not the person who sent the question. I appreciate the person who sent the question. I always have, always will. For real, from the heart. Then that tells you what percentile you're in. So eat it. If you don't like it, I don't know. You'll be back. Some of y'all just get mad and still come back to the same old chaos anyway. That would break a 5%er's heart, because the 5%er will hope like, damn, they finally let it go. They're finding themselves. 25% love shit like that. Oh, you'll be back. That's what a lot of toxic people know about each other. You know? And they try to normalize the toxic behavior by saying like, oh, if you don't fight and argue, then that's not real love. That's not what that is. What it really is about is the passion, the fire element. And only real alchemists know how to really use that and not normalize it just to stay in the toxicity. And to normalize the toxicity. Just so they can make up excuses to still be 25%ers. Now, here's the kicker with everything, if y'all must know, because then you say, well, because I'm telling you, there's some smart motherfuckers in the 75%. I'm telling you, there's 15% of the 75% that's going to catch this shit and be like, let me get my shit together. And I applaud y'all for that, right? So I hear y'all. Y'all are going to ask, well, if his twin is a 5%er, what does that make Chris? If you're describing all this over here, that he attracting it, he's over here in the 25%. Why? Because all these 75%ers in between a 5% and a 25%, y'all keep asking, when would they unite? What's stopping the physical union? The 75%ers, they hold all the motherfucking power to bring unity together. But because they listen to the 25%ers and think that that's where the fucking party is and that's what success means, they keep y'all divided. Because I'm telling y'all, they don't want y'all to know about the 5%ers. Because y'all have more power than the 25%ers. The 25%ers are the real fucked up ones. It's not y'all, but they want y'all to believe that y'all are. And that y'all need people to tell y'all what to do. Right? And Chris is mixed up over there. Trying to, they're playing his song Shooter. He's trying to get over, he knows too much too. He knows this stuff too, but on the left side. She knows all this stuff, but on the right side. And then here all y'all are in the middle. You can't make this stuff up. So do with this as you will. Thanks to the young lady who submitted this question. That was great. I did not expect that. All right, so there you guys have it for that.